The Oklahoma Sooners defensive depth chart is the best in the nation.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started today. He's Jay Smith of Unfair Sports. I'm John Williams of Sooners Wire and USA Today Sports. And the Oklahoma Sooners depth chart on the defensive side of the ball, I think will put them among the best in the country in 2025. We're looking at Colton Sully of the Oklahomans depth chart projection. We did the offense on Monday's show. We're doing the defense today on Tuesday's show. And Jay, my first question comes here at defensive tackle. Now, we know that Jaden Jackson started for the Oklahoma Sooners week 1 of 2024, but my guy has been out all spring just rehabbing a shoulder. He had a little bit of cleanup stuff done on his right shoulder. He's been out, but Colton is projecting that he'll start week 1 over a guy like Dominic Williams.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting one to have him go in there. But at the same time, you rotate a lot of dudes on the defensive line. You don't want to have your D tackles going at 600 or 700 snaps. You kind of want to avoid that. You want to get them in the 300 to 400 range. And so I can totally see it. But to be honest, I don't see Jaden Jackson, and he has Jaden Jackson and Grayson Halton starting. I don't see that. I see Jaden Jackson and Dominic Williams starting, and then I see David Stone and Grayson Halton probably playing together, or rotating Dominic with like a David Stone and a Grayson Halton on a consistent basis. But I don't see Dominic not starting as a senior. He's got all the tools you need, and having both those big boys in there, just creating havoc, only makes sense to me. So it's very interesting how that setup is. I think what jumped out to me most, though, is, of course, R. Mason Thomas, as well as potentially Marvin Jones Jr. would be your two bookend edges. But Taylor Wine being on there instead of Danny Okoye, in which I've heard nothing but great things about Okoye in the practices, that he about ready to make that next leap. Kind of surprised to see Wine and PJ Adebawore as the two that he has right there in that 2 deep.
I think Danny Okoye is going to break out. I think he's going to have a big role on this team. But you've also seen some stuff from Taylor Wine, at least in short practice clips, of him having some success against Oklahoma's offensive line. He's another long dude, similar in athleticism. I mean, he's got good athleticism, good length, good strength. Somebody that could be kind of that run defending edge, so to speak. You know, somebody that can play on the other side of a guy like PJ or a guy like, R. Mason Thomas. And you're going to just say, hey, go make sure you're setting the edge, stopping the run, making sure you're holding up your end of the responsibilities. And then when it comes time to rush the passer, then we're good to go. We're set to rush the passer. I think it's going to be a fluid thing. I think that because you've got a guy that maybe most people aren't projecting to be in the 2 deep, I think it goes to show that, hey, edge is pretty deep for Oklahoma right now. Now it's just a matter of those young guys, PJ Adebawore, Danny Okoye, Taylor Wine, stepping up and taking advantage of some opportunities and earning some opportunities to be a part of the 2 deep, be a part of that 4-man rotation at defensive end, because Oklahoma's going to need them. Just like you mentioned with defensive tackle, they want to rotate guys all along that defensive line. And I think they will. It's just a matter of who's going to be the guy, who's going to be the dudes that step up behind R. Mason Thomas and Marvin Jones Jr. I don't know if we have that answer just yet. I think Paul Camp will provide a little bit more of an answer, and maybe it's going to be a fluid thing all season long. Back to defensive tackle real quickly, Jay, before we start looking at the linebackers and the secondary. I think you could also see a little bit matchup dependent stuff there at defensive tackle. Like when you go up against Michigan in week 2, you might decide you're going to play your 2 big noses, Dominic Williams and Jaden Jackson, together a lot more against that Michigan front, because you know they're going to want to try to run the football to take the pressure off of a true freshman, Bryce Underwood, making his first road start in Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium against a Brent Venables defense. They're going to want to try and take the pressure off him having to throw the ball 30, 40, 50 times in that game. So Brent Venables, what's he going to do? He's going to load up on the interior, make them try to run on the outside, let Kip Lewis and those cheetahs and Kobe McKenzie be able to run sideline to sideline to stop the run. So what stood out to you when you looked at the linebacker group there, Jay?
Yeah, I see Kendall Daniels and Samuel Masigo as your backups to Kip and Kobe. That, to me, checks out to exactly what I was expecting. But then we'll mix in cheetahs here. I like Kendall Doby here at Cheetah still. I kind of prefer a Reggie Powers move up here and then put Kendall Doby on the outside at corner or nickel. So I think with the Cheetah, you'll have some flexibility of either being a nickel or someone that's either going to blitz or, stay in like zone coverage. It's going to be a lot of configurations they have, but Kendall Daniels being right there behind Kip Lewis, I honestly felt like Kendall was going to be more your middle guy instead. But weak side makes a lot more sense, mainly because you can move him around into safety. You can drop him straight back into safety. You don't need him to really command the defense. So Kobe and Samuel Masigo makes a lot of sense as your middle linebackers to be the ones with the dot and to be the one directing everybody. I'm wondering how long it'll take before Samuel Masigo tries to overtake Kobe McKenzie, because I think Sammy's a little bit stronger in coverage. In comparison, I think Kobe's your stronger run stopper. I'm wondering how long it'll take before they start moving Sammy in there more, or if they're going to put him in there for specific passing downs.
It's going to be fascinating to see. I think this staff is going to give Kobe McKenzie every opportunity to be that guy, to be the leader on the defense.
Yeah.
Because he's been so loyal to the program. I mean, he's stuck it out. He's bided his time behind Danny Stutzman. He's learned from one of the best Oklahoma linebackers that we've had since a long time.
Murray, probably.
I mean, Kenneth Murray for sure, but maybe even go back further than that. I don't know. But Kobe McKenzie, this is his time now. Samuel Masigo's time to be the Mike is coming down the road, but he's got every trait that you want to have for an inside linebacker too. A guy that's going to be able to go and run and hit. Kobe's going to offer that size and that strength and that run stopping ability, but they're really good at linebacker, man. This is looking really, really good. The fact that Kendall Daniels is not even a starter for you, I think that speaks volumes to the talent that you have. I think he can play starter snaps. And I do think weak side and Cheetah are more natural fits for him, where he's not going to have to take on centers and guards like a Mike might have to, trying to stop the run. He can run a little bit more free. He can play a little bit more free, a little less mucked up than maybe he might have to if he was playing the Mike. So I think that looks good. What about secondary, Jay? I'm surprised to see Gentry and Eli both there starting at corner.
That's what my expectation has been for a while, John, is that you get healthy Gentry and healthy Eli going, that's your starting corners. Now, the Cortland Guillory there as the backup, that's fascinating. Now, I've heard nothing but great things about Cortland Guillory. Actually, all of the new young corners that we have, it's been a lot of people have spoken up very, very highly about those players. And so seeing Cortland Guillory get that type of attention makes me believe that he really did stand out to the people that Colton had spoke to, his sources there on campus in the Switzer Center. They must really think highly of him if he's willing to be comfortable putting him as in the 2 deep with Jacoby Johnson, in which I'm still a fan of Jacoby Johnson. I think he can figure it out. He has great size. All he's got to do is stop falling whenever he's running deep. Because in coverage-wise, he does great until he hits the ground. When he's not on the ground, he's a fantastic defender. He's definitely shown us that he has capabilities of being a threat. He's athletic enough. He's fast enough. He's strong enough. Just got to stop tripping over his own feet. And that happens to some of us. We got clumsy tendencies out there every once in a while. Some of us got clumsy genes. It just is what it is, And I think he'll overcome that, John. That's what I'm hoping for. But I know that, Coach Valai as well as Coach Hall is really Coach Valai I know is very high on Jacoby. But we all know that Eli and Gentry are your main guys. And again, I would love to see some Kendall Doby out there rotating with Eli Bowen. Even just size-wise. I mean, probably with an inch difference, but Kendall Doby plays so much bigger, and I know he'd be so much fun to blitz off the corner, kind of like Trey Brown did against Texas, and he got that safety. I want to see more stuff like that. That would be intriguing, in which, with Brent Venables as your defensive coordinator, I can expect him to dial up some wild stuff like that on a regular basis. But safety, John, That to me is purified chalk, unless we decide that we need to move Reggie Powers the third in somewhere in one of those positions. Where could you see him playing at? Well, behind.
I mean, he could play behind either Robert Spears Jennings or Peyton Bowen. I think he's athletic enough, he's fast enough, and he's physical enough to play either safety spot. If you need him to play in the box, I think he can do that, as evidenced by the fact that they're lining him up at Cheetah. If you need him to play more of the free safety style, roam in the middle third, I think he can do that. He's athletic enough, he's fast enough to be able to do that as well. Your safety position, again, deepest on the team, maybe the deepest safety room in the country. That's going to be really, really fun to watch, to see how Oklahoma uses those 4 or 5 guys at safety and builds up guys like Omarion Robinson and Marcus Wimberly as well. It's a really good group, and I really think this defense has a chance to be one of the more impactful defenses across the country. Will they lead will they lead the nation in scoring? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But I think that they will be really, really good. And they're going to be so good that it's going to take a lot of the pressure off of Oklahoma's offense to have to go score 40 points a game like we're accustomed to seeing at Oklahoma. They're not going to have to do that. This is a team that can go win with its offense scoring 27, 30, 33 points in a game and win it by double digits, because I think the defense is going to be that stinking good.
I'm there for it.
The Oklahoma Sooners are on the verge of making their defense better in the future. We'll discuss a 2026 recruiting prediction coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel's making it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Like, for example, Oklahoma City Thunder, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I could do a same-game parlay of Shai plus 400 to score the first bucket and match that up with the first team basket with Shai if I want to, or even Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic for Denver if I want to go ahead and put them all together and combining those to win big. I mean, if I can hit on a $5 bet, that $200 bonus is always exciting. So you got to check that out. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners on Monday received a recruiting prediction for an up-and-coming defensive tackle out of Jacksonville, Florida, Duval. One Brian Harris. Steve Wiltfong of On3 dropped the Fong bomb, predicting the Oklahoma Sooners to land a commitment from Brian Harris, Jay.
Yeah, and his commitment is coming up on May 23rd, so we'll be preparing ourselves for that if something comes down. But he was committed to Maryland and then stepped off of that, and everybody's been after him. And the kid, he's got some size, 6'4", 290 right now. That's a nice size kid coming out of high school. He's going to easily surpass 300 pounds by the time he gets, becomes an early enrollee potentially in December. And that's going to give Oklahoma a nice big interior dude that we hope can pan out into something special long term, maybe into another Jaden Jackson or Grayson Halton type situation, or heck, a Marcus Strong, which I love Marcus Strong out of Florida. Don't care what nobody says. Oklahoma needs to win more guys like this, especially at 6'4" and 290. You want to get more guys in the 6'4", 6'5" range, in the 300, the 320 range on a consistent basis. That way you can start building up an actual interior defense that's going to be terrifying to other teams in college football. So if Oklahoma can win this one on May 23rd, if the Fong bomb is accurate, it's going to be a huge win.
Yeah, Jay, so I went and asked our guy, Brian Smith of The Portal, Locked On's recruiting expert, what he thought of one Brian Harris, because Brian is very, very familiar, not just with the recruiting landscape, but also the Florida recruiting scene. And this is what he had to say about Brian Harris. Very dedicated. He's jacked. He's taken his game up another level in less than a year. A great guy, too. Brian Harris wasn't a big name last fall and really started to gain momentum. Again, he's put in the work and made it happen. That's music to my ears right there. A dude that was flying under the radar this time a year ago, last fall. Nobody had really been talking about him. Does it sound like a Ryan Foje situation a little bit? And put together some really, really good tape, put together some really, really good film, worked on his body, did all the work off the field. And now, I mean, he's got a lot of really impressive offers. Alabama, Penn State, Ole Miss, Auburn. This is a dude that is gaining a lot of buzz, and it's going to only continue because you don't find many 6'4", 290 guys that move the way that he moves. Like, he's playing not only defensive tackle for his Mandarin high school, he's playing defensive end too, in 4-man fronts, not just in 3-man fronts, in 4-man fronts. And not only is he winning with his strength and power, but he's winning around the corner with his length and his athleticism. The dude moves incredibly well for his size and his athleticism, but he's not just an athletic guy. He plays with the kind of tenacity and demeanor that you want out of a defensive tackle. He's looking to get physical against the run. He's looking to put the quarterback in the dirt, not just sack him, not just tackle him. No, he wants to get physical, and he plays violent. And again, I'm excited and stoked about this kid. Hopefully Oklahoma is able to get him to signing day and get that signature and first of all, get that commitment. The Fong Bomb's not always a guarantee, but get that commitment and get to signing, because he's one of those guys that I feel like could have a Jaden Jackson like true freshman campaign where he is an instant impact contributor.
Yeah, and I'm curious about his OVs and how that's going to happen, or if he's going to go ahead and start canceling all of them before he after he makes his decision on where he wants to play. I know that on 247 he's not really, they don't have him as a warm there yet, but with Fong dropping it on 3, it makes me feel like he's probably going to clean up a lot of those visits, or he's not going to take any visits at all. But you're right. The one thing that jumped out to me the most about him is he's a violent player, and he can be moved around. He's pretty versatile. So if he's athletic enough to put on that additional weight and still be able to play edge or whatnot while also playing the interior, that's a massive pickup for what the Sooners are going to be trying to do going forward. It adds the versatility adds a good young player that can play hopefully next to like a Trent Wilson next year, because I expect Trent to be a monster for this team in the 2026 season.
Yeah, and I think about the way that Oklahoma can use a guy like him and a guy like David Stone, who is also equally athletic, but also physical and has good size.
Yep.
Brent Venables likes to run some 3-man fronts. He doesn't do it maybe as much as a Zach Alley did, but he will deploy a 3-man front on you. And if you can do that with Jaden Jackson at the nose, and then, a year or two from now, you have David Stone and a guy like Brian Harris or a Trent Wilson or a Nigel Smith playing that other defensive end spot in a 3-man front, that creates a lot of really interesting possibilities. But the fact that he's able to play inside and out, it does give them some versatility, but it's just another one of those defensive tackle types that is going to be an impactful player. And you can look at the 3-star status. It's fine. I project by the end of his high school career, he'll be a blue chip player. He's got blue chip type offers. He's got the blue chip type talent. He's going to continue to rise before we even get to the early signing period. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if before the high school senior season starts, when the recruiting rankings do all their updates and whatnot, it wouldn't surprise me to see him jump up to a 4-star because the tape is that good.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And looking at the offer sheet from Michigan to Penn State to Auburn to Alabama to Ole Miss to South Carolina, Oklahoma, Mississippi State. I mean, you can tell that, yeah, he got all the real offers, the really good offers, the ones where the teams would love to have him. Can't beat that. So I expect him as well to slide up a lot higher in his industry ranking with everybody as the tape continues to roll. And honestly, I know that everyone believes that there's some sort of CEO conspiracy against Oklahoma when it comes to their recruits or whatnot. But truth be told, when Oklahoma offers, a lot of players do rise up a lot more than where they were before. You'll see that a lot more than you see players drop. Typically, some players drop just because they stop camping, and so at that point, is what it is. If you're not really camping, it's kind of hard to evaluate you and make sure you're still making the same strides. But because Oklahoma gets the offer out there, it's one of the reasons why you saw with Fogier, he started flying up. As soon as Oklahoma got him to commit, you started seeing a whole bunch of other schools say, okay, what is Bill Bedenbaugh seeing this kid? Oh, I see what Bedenbaugh's seeing this kid. Let's offer him. You started to see the offers just flowing, right? Like a waterfall. And so it was an understanding that what Bill Bedenbaugh is looking for. A lot of other schools want similar players like that. They're like, no, we want versatile guys because we know Bill Bedenbaugh puts dudes in the NFL. And so with that being the case, you're going to see probably like this Brian Harris go up in the rankings because Oklahoma offered him. And if he commits to Oklahoma, you will possibly see him move up a lot. He'll probably fly up the charts a lot faster. Now, I could totally see him kind of teetering back some from the initial jumps, but I expect after the summer, depending on where he commits, he's going to probably jump up all the rankings before his senior season starts.
Yeah, he's one of those easy evals. Like you watch the highlights, you watch some of the film, and it's pretty easy to see why a program like Oklahoma would want this kid, why programs like Alabama and Penn State would want this kid, because he's one of those truly potential game wreckers.
Yeah,
that are really, really hard to come by along the interior defensive line. And with the potential that the SEC might move to 9 games, you got to have more of these guys than ever. Let's discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year over at monarchmoney.com. And thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, which I know some of you are, maybe not all of you, but some of you, I'm sure you're thrilled right now with Dallas getting the number 1 overall pick and potentially getting Cooper Flagg unless he decides to pull an Eli Manning. So go listen to Locked On Mavericks for all of the joyful exuberance that you get from, the number 1 overall pick. Or if you're a Thunder fan, make sure you go listen to Rylan Stiles and the Locked On Thunder podcast to check out all the great playoff coverage being provided here on the Locked On Network. Jay, the talk of 9 SEC games continues to gain traction, especially as the SEC lobbies for 4 automatic bids in the college football playoff.
That is extremely fascinating. So there's an article in The Athletic that came out last week that kind of jumped out to me. So there's not really a formal offer out there, but ESPN is saying that they will be willing to pay the SEC additional money annually if they moved over to a 9-game schedule. And that has been the heavy talk. Everybody, a lot of people for the most part wants that to happen. Me personally, I'm kind of against it. Explain why. Michigan plays Oklahoma. Ohio State plays Texas. Alabama's playing Florida State. I want more stuff like that. Give me Penn State, Auburn, right? Give me that again. Give me LSU, Penn State, maybe. You can do that. What I want to see more of is marquee matchups at the beginning of the season. I want if anything the SEC could do for me is to make every team play a minimum 8-game schedule, but give them 2 minimum non-conference P4 games. And then you can have the cupcake game that you pay, the 2 more cupcake games so you can pay. Because truth be told, the reason I have those games is twofold. One, there's no preseason in college football, and those are great for preseason to get everybody warmed up. And the second thing is, this is usually the football budget for those other schools. which I am totally here for. A lot of kids are going to school to go play football to get an education. A lot of them aren't trying to go pro. Now, they're playing like they want to go pro, but they understand that because it's tough, they're here to play to go get that education. And I like that being a vehicle for those that can't afford it. So for me, I prefer that you have that ability, but I really would like the SEC to implement to where they want you to play 2 P4 games. And if they get into a scheduling agreement with the other P4s, that would be even more huge to me. Make it to where the top teams play each other and you kind of go down. Let's eliminate some of this long-term scheduling stuff that we have. And let's get a commissioner conversation, or have someone that's like scheduling overseer or something like that, and make it to where you have top teams playing against each other from each, kind of like the NFL does. Like, have the top teams play against each other. That way you kind of mix up and create a little bit of artificial parity, while at the same time, I don't want this to end up being a situation where people feel like this eliminates people's capabilities of being able to play in the playoffs, because it shouldn't. I mean, with the 16-team playoff, which we're probably going to very soon, 8 and 4 teams are going to make it in there. I would like for it to be a bracketed setup to where SEC's talking about this with the Big Ten and trying to get something going with the CFP to where the first round of the playoffs is played like right before the conference championship game or something like that. You know, that's what gets teams in. But the one thing, if there's anything I need to happen here, John, and I want everyone to hear me, look at the camera and listen to me, hear your boy out. These games need to be played on college campuses. Screw this neutral site crap. I don't want it. Only time I like neutral site is for a rivalry game. I want these games on campus. I want Ohio State at Texas. I want them at Oklahoma like we had before. I want Notre Dame to show up at Alabama's campus and vice versa. I want these on campus so that the fans are rewarded, so the home team is rewarded with action, regardless of how good or bad the teams are. Please set it up to where, just like I want in the playoffs going forward, get rid of this crap where they're playing a bowl game and in another bowl spot. Let those bowl games live on their own. Let them be their own entity. But I am totally against doing neutral site regular season. Back to you, John. I lost my.
There's a couple games that make sense for neutral site regular season. OU Texas.
Well, yeah, rivalries.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You're talking about
historical. I'm talking about Penn State. Penn State, Oklahoma. No, do not. Let us go to Happy Valley.
Yeah, yes, of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
That is what I mean.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I get Georgia, Florida. I get Oklahoma, because it's a border thing, you know. And honestly, I kind of like that neutral site setup a little bit more than the home and home series, is only because it just makes it a more hostile environment because it's always split. I like that. That's intriguing on that. But I don't knock Mississippi State and Egg Bowl being on back-to-back conferences, or Iron Bowl.
Yeah,
I don't knock that. Big game, love it.
I think it's game to game. Some of them, they make sense to be home and home because they've always done home and home. Some are neutral sites because they've always been neutral sites. I don't even mind the Texas A&M Arkansas thing being a neutral site game.
I like that.
That's a throwback, you know, to Southwest Conference days, you know? So I don't even mind that necessarily. I want to see more big time matchups. And to me, it doesn't even have to be like best in the SEC versus best in the Big Ten or best in the ACC. I just want to see more of those Power 4 matchups. So I like the idea of like a scheduling rotation amongst the Power 4 teams where it's like, okay, Oklahoma, you get 2 Power 4 games this year. One of them is going to be against the Big 12. One of them is going to be against the Big 10. Okay, maybe next year you get the ACC and the Big 10. The following year, it's the ACC and the Big 12. You know, like a rotation of games where it's like, hey, I'm going to get Texas Tech next year in Lubbock. It's always an electric atmosphere. That's one of the great Big 12 venues. Or I'm going to get Oklahoma versus Florida State in Norman. Like, give me a rotation of that. I don't need my non-conference schedule planned out 10 years in advance, because what it looks like today could look very, very different 10 years down the road. Now, I love that Nebraska's on the schedule for a future home and home. I love Clemson on the schedule for a future home and home. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, find more ways to get another Power 4 game on the schedule, and I'm cool with leaving it at 8 conference games. That's fine. I don't need a ninth SEC game. Would it be fun? Yeah, but it's not necessary, especially if you're going to schedule strong. I'm with you. I think some of the college coaches are with that, as well as keeping an FCS game on the schedule, because it does benefit those FCS programs so much. It's the same thing Patty Gasso did as opposed to playing in the Mary Nutter Classic out in California. She went and did road trips to San Diego State and Long Beach State and going to those venues to help benefit those programs, letting them get a sold out gate so that they're getting some revenue, as opposed to it going to these tournament organizers to get that revenue. So I like the charitable aspect of playing an FCS game. And I don't want anybody to come off to take that wrongly. I think there's still something. We need to find a way to maintain some of the, I don't want to say purity, but some of the goodness in college football. Like some of the things that are actually good. And I know we look at those 77-0 beat downs and think, oh, how's that good for the game? But the kids that come to Norman and play in Gaylord, Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, they talk about how incredible that experience is. And when you play for Maine, you don't get to have that experience very often. It's an incredible feeling that you don't get unless you go and play one of those big blue blood programs and get the tar beat out of you. But it's a memory you'll never forget. You get to tell your kids, I got to play on Owen Field, the same place that had Billy Sims and Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray and Adrian Peterson, and take it back even further, however far you want, Brian Bosworth, whatever. Those kind of things, that's kind of the cool part of college football. So I'm with it. And I'm going to end my point here on this final note. I don't like the idea of multiple automatic qualifiers for any conference. Conference champion gets an automatic qualifier. The rest of it at large.
So my only disagreement I have with you there is that, which I'll say, I don't think you're wrong. I do like the idea of the two teams that make the conference championship both getting auto bid. If there was auto bid set up, I would prefer is the teams in the P4s, all four teams that make the conference championship should get an auto bid. Mainly because then that will deter people from trying to tank that game. Like you win that game, you get that bye. You lose that game, or they're going to re-rank you anyway, and do it actual rankings instead of having specific spots. But I do like conference champions to get in as auto bids. But outside of that, get that stuff out of there.
And this is why I think they need to go back to divisions. I know that we're out on the divisions because
really need more divisions.
Top two teams in the conference playing the conference championship game. But you know what would make the conference championship game more interesting is a 9-3 team that won their division having an opportunity to go win the conference title game and earn an automatic qualifier. Like, that creates a little bit more incentive, because there might be a year where you have a team that's not a 9-win team, but they're outside the playoff, or an 8-win team that's outside the playoff, but they won their division and has an opportunity to go win the conference. Like, that's the Cinderella story, right? So I don't know. I like the conference championship games. Conference championship weekend is one of the best weekends in all of sports. It's so much fun. I don't want to do anything that minimizes that greatness. So anything else on this, man? I think I'm okay either way. If they stay at 8, if they go to 9, I think it's going to be fun either way. I just want to see continued scheduling in a way that doesn't show you're afraid, man. Just go play the best. Go play as many top teams as you possibly can.
Yeah, that's what you need. We want to see the best play the best, and that just does nothing but increase the value to me of college football. College football is great. The best part about college football is how many anomalies you have out there, how many random moments where one team will blow out another. It's just, that's what college football will always be, because you can't have it all close because the talent is dispersed way too much.
Yep.
I want to see more I want to see more nice big stadiums to travel to. Let's put it that way. I don't mind occasionally going to a small stadium and blowing out someone. You know, it's fun too. But I want to see the big stadiums, and I want to see just the competition itself.
Yeah, I mean they got a nice one down there in Dallas. That might be some interesting competition in the near future. But also, I'm with you on make as many rounds of the playoff home site games as possible. Like the first 2 rounds, definitely. If you want to make the semifinal games home sites, even better. But definitely the first 2 rounds of the playoff need to be on home sites. Get rid of the bowls. Just go away.
Yeah, kick them out.
Or do this. Make the bowls part of the regular season and just create invites based on what a team did the previous year. And then make those games mean something by making them a part of the regular season. Except for Rose Bowl, because you're so dead set on playing on New Year's Day. Whatever. Just
totally get it. I mean, it's the Parade of the Roses. I get it. It's a tradition. It's old. So, you know, someone, and I wouldn't even be mad if they made the Rose Bowl a national championship.
Minnesota versus Cal and be done with it.
True. I need us to get the season over before MLK weekend, though.
Yes.
I would prefer that a lot more. I think that would fix the chaos around the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because then it fixes it around school. And we can be done by school, or at least the week after the first.
Got to figure out a way to finish the season before the spring semester begins, which is usually the 2nd to 3rd week of January. Got to finish it before.
Let's get it.
We're going to fix college football this offseason, so make sure you're tuned in to Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcasts. Again, we're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. Follow me at John9 Williams, and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner. We got a bash on Oklahoma State, Texas next. That's probably going to come out at the end of the week. That'd be a great weekend show.
Yeah. Because Oklahoma